recording before I forget, like the last time. So this is what I meant here. Let me go back to. Can you see my screen, right? So if I switch between screens here, you are still able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. So I would say I would say the same if it comes to defining here the pseudocode. So yes, typically you define the pseudocode perfect, and you assign things to the array, and you did make a for loop. Also, that looks great. But can I know why the for loop is from 0 to 1, and why there is no function?
I wasn't sure how to make a function in pseudocode. I was going to ask about that. So I was only using normal.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Um, okay. And okay. Yeah. That's one thing. So, but you already know how to end a for loop, and you already know how to end an if statement. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. But just I let you be aware again. So what you know, if the examiner does not see, then I think you know that this will not be accepted, right? So if you didn't put end
Uh,
for and end if,
yes.
okay. So I guess that maybe you stopped just because you didn't know how to make a function. I will assume that, but again, this is a slight touch that you need. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's good. Um, I would say, okay, and this is also an interesting part. So I will copy that code, and let me try to see, yeah, here. Okay, so can you tell me what this code do actually?
Um, it returns the sum of the integers in the array.
Hmm? Okay, and it's called sum2.
Yes, of only the first two integers in the array.
Okay, let me give it numbers like you. So I think you already studied the part in the syllabus that talk about passing different types of data to a function or to a code that to your algorithm, right? The normal
Yes.
data and the erroneous data and the boundary data. You already know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you told me again what this function is doing. It's some how many integers inside the array.
The first two integers of the array. And if there's less than two integers in the array, then it just returns the sum of the integers there.
Okay. So okay, in this case, the first remark that I would say that you don't need to put what you have done again is somehow correct, but typically this I mean this is not a good practice at all. You should you should put the minimum amount of code. Let's talk about that. You should put the minimum amount of code that should do the job. So the minimum amount of code tell us to write less lines. Less lines. So if every function you create, you add two or three um, instructions that is not necessary or can be tuned, it means that maybe you will end up in a 6,000 line code or program or algorithm by adding 6,000 extra instructions. And just be aware that every instruction that you give here in the higher level might be translated to 2, 3 low-level instructions. So
Okay.
yeah. So are you aware that how is the implication? I mean, what is the implication of that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say you tested the code correctly. So if it is bigger than 2, you will do this for loop. And if it is less than 2, you will do this for loop, right?
Yes.
Do you see any repetition here in the for loop part?
Total is the same.
So it looks like the same, right? So
Yes.
so it means that shouldn't I take that totally outside?
Oh yes, I expressed it.
So I mean, if we are so if it is less than 2, I will take the first 2. Am I right? So
Yes.
again,
So
so
if it's greater than 2 or
if
equal
it,
to 2, then it's the first 2.
okay, and if it is less than 2, it will take whatever there.
Yes.
Okay, so it means that somehow this if statement can have some tuning. I would say, um, I would say, let me see. What should we say here? Range, or we say for range equal 0, and then I would say, so I created a variable, and then I start to give a value to this variable based on the if statement. So if it is bigger than 2, I give what? How many I need to run? I need to run 2 times.
Yes.
And if it is not, then it is the length of the array, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so it means that I can come here and write for range, the variable that I already created. So far you following up with me what I'm doing? Okay. So that does this seem logic to you? Does this make
Yes, it
any
is.
sense to you? Okay. So what I have done that I stopped repeating this for loop, right? And let me try to run and see if it works. So tell me why it doesn't run.
Because is there sum 3 in the 19th line, I think, instead of sum 2.
Okay, line which line again? Line 19. Where is this
Yes.
line 19? Okay, good. Okay. So it is having bigger than 3, like bigger than 2, and it is returning this 2. Perfect. If I put here 10, it typically should run as, yeah, okay. And if we put it less than 2, is this right?
Yes.
So if it is less than 2, and I mean, it will be only one element in the array, right?
Yes.
Do we really need a for loop?
Well, the question said it as if they wanted me to write another for loop. I wasn't sure if I should, but I just made another one.
Okay, but to me, if I think about it, we don't really need a for loop. So if it is less than 2, I would say return what? What should we return?
Numbers because return num because it'll be
No,
the
okay.
total
Now,
is
now again. Wait, please. So we are not making any confusion. Okay. So if it is less than 2, so 0, 1, and 2. So we assume here we are having 10, let's say having 20, and then here let's say having 3. So if it is 2, what we will do, we will make a for loop and we will run, right? But if it is less, if it is only 0 and 1, can we write something that if we know that it is less than 2, it means that it only have 0 and 1, right? Yes, writing a for loop also it will work. Yes, definitely it will work, and it is easier for you without thinking. But do you see any logic that we return something here if it is less than 2? What can we write here if we want to write something?
If it's less than 2, you return there can only be one or no numbers in the array, which means you just return the number.
So it's only one number if it's less than 2?
Yes.
Okay, so it is not 0 and 1, right?
Well, when it's equal to 2, you'll have 0 and 1. But
Perfect,
then when it's
perfect understanding. Yes, okay, yeah, okay, that's good. And you have a perfect understanding, and that's in itself is an excellent thing. Okay, okay, so it means can we say, I would say return num and like that? Can we say like that? Does this make sense
yes,
to you?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, so it means that 2 and 3, so it works as it should be, right? So
Yes.
if we thought about it correct, yes, you're able to move the for loop up, or you're able to even keep it here. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now you understand what's happening, right?
Yes.
And we even don't need to have this variable. Am I right? If we move,
Perfect.
if we move this for loop up here, and we keep the return like that, we don't need even this variable, right? And we saved some extra 2 lines that we would have executed here if we put it here, right? Does this make any sense to you?
Okay.
Does this make any sense? Really? I mean, so
Yes, it does.
okay. So, and we are able to comment that. Okay. Let me see how you did in the what we did in the. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. So, what do you mean by int?
As in it's an integer.
You mean like that?
Yes.
Okay. Because this is the accepted form in, I mean, the full word is accepted form in the pseudocode.
Okay.
Let me see here, total, and then again we didn't define a function. Okay, that one will go through it, and okay. So actually, the same concept goes here. The same concept. I mean, we no need to repeat ourselves, right? What we have done in the Python, you're able to repeat exactly the same concept here to save this kind of loops. So you don't need to run really 2 loops here. Is that clear
Yes.
to you, right? Except
Yes.
that the part of returning. Okay, so I will check the remaining. I don't want to waste more time here regarding that homework. I will check it, and then so that I make a slides about it, and we can discuss it next time. So, but
Okay.
so far, I think you already know my remarks here. Let me think, what can I show to you now? So, yeah, let me open. I think you're able to see my screen. So, as I told you, you took me by surprise a bit, but yeah. Let me see here. Procedures. Yeah. Okay. So let me confirm again with you so that I'm aware and prepare myself on that. You know how the bubble sort works.
The what? Sorry.
Bubble sort.
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Bubble sort. You don't know yet. Okay. To be frank, I never saw it in the exam. Okay, but I see it in the syllabus. It is in the syllabus. Okay. Okay. So that's one thing, and then I will go through. Do you know what the dictionary and tuple work? How it works? Dictionary and tuple.
No.
Okay. So okay, now let me share with you. So okay, do you know the difference between a procedure and a function?
Function returns a value.
And procedure does not, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and that will make me also go to another level, but let me see. So, this is how we define a procedure, right? Did you see that before? So you give the
No.
param you so if it doesn't return anything, then you create a procedure. In the case that the two functions that we created, this is not a procedure. I mean, the two exercises that we have gone through with the summing and returning the number of integers in the Python. So actually, I was expecting you to define something. It is not a procedure, so we have to stop and we have to enter again, right?
Yes.
Okay.